Hello, welcome back with me, Wulan Indah SP with study number 20230023. In here, I will present my qualitative proposal with title The Impact of Post-Traumatic Stress on EFL Student Achievement. Again, we move to first point is background study. In background study, I will explain little about the mental health. The mental health is it encompasses emotional, psychological, and social well-being, so that it can be influenced to the cognitive, perspective, and behavior. So in recent years, issues connected to mental health are often publicity in second media, not only in our country, and maybe even around the world have same case. Mental health issue can be a problem for a student to the process learning, including the problem PTSD. This problem can be categorized as psychological problem. And the research I'm at knowing the impact of PTSD and to understand the level of anxiety trauma experience by the indicate the study. Again, the next point is research question. The main question is how does the post-traumatic stress give impact on EFL student achievement? And then the next point is objectives of the study. This research aims at knowing the impact of post-traumatic stress on EFL student achievement. Again, the next is significances of the study. In significances of the study divide to three parts. The first part is for the student. This research hopefully can be the reading source for students to learn about the impact of post-traumatic stress on EFL student achievement. And then the second for teacher or lecturer, the research hopefully can be the reading source or inspiration about the impact of post-traumatic stress on EFL student achievement. And then the third is for the researchers. It is expected that this research can be referenced in further research, especially researchers with a similar topic. Okay, the next slide is scope and limitation. In this research, will be discussed about the impact of post-traumatic stress in learning, and then the limitation in this research is discussion of the application of prevention and how to deal with post-traumatic stress symptoms in the classroom. Okay, and the next slide is about literature review. In theoretical framework, divide to 6 parts. The first part is definition of PTSD. So in this part, I explain about the definition of PTSD. So what is the definition of PTSD? PTSD involves group of anxiety symptoms that occur after a person has been exposed to a traumatic event that resulted in feeling of horror, helpless, or afraid. That is a definition of PTSD. After that, we must know about symptoms of PTSD. The symptoms have several symptoms. So that the first is trouble sleep, irritability or outburst of anger, and then difficulty concentrating or remembering, and then the next hypervigilance, and the last is exaggerate startle response. That is a symptom of post-traumatic stress disorder. After we know about symptoms, we must to know about how to recover PTSD. In how to recover PTSD, maybe you have or you can do the several way or several skill. The first skill is anxiety management, and then the second skill is cognitive therapy. The third way is exposure therapy. So the next part is definition of English as foreign language or EFL. What is the definition of EFL? EFL is who are people learn English in countries other than the uh, Anglo software. For example, if you Indonesian who study English in their own country, that is can call EFL student, or we can mention it EFL. Okay, and so move to the next part is PTSD in university EFL student. So EFL students often suffer from social emotional stress, academic stress, and language learning stress. This triple threat of social and emotional stress, academic stress, and language learning stress requires certain things, along with the negative effect of traumatic experience or the traumatic based class for university EFL student. So PTSD can be happen in EFL student at universities. And then the next part is PTSD effect on academic or functional language. Okay, in this part is in view of the circumstance that traumatic understanding are common in EFL students, they stand for choose negative effect. Trauma's effect on academic functioning are significant required intervention. So that is okay. We will move to next slide. Previous related studies. So in this slide, I have two previous related studies. So the first from Kadiono Widodo Subagio with the title PTSD Recovery of Children Victim of Avalanche Disaster with Play Therapy. Uh, this, this research published in 2016 and then have the risk and have result of and have result if applied therapy was recommended to manage the psychological impact of disaster on children, and their neighborhood might participate in providing toys which are suitable for the local cultures. And then the second one is from G. Seiko Alexander Pace Nail, with title Investigating Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder or PTSD, triggered by the experience of dyslexia in mainstream school education. This research published in 2015. And the research found support for previous empirical studies not in childhood trauma amongst the population. However, this research went one step further and investigate PTSD as a mind topic or manifest as adult and parent. Okay, in the next slide, we move to research method. In this research, use approach of the study is case study approach. So, um, according to Jake, case study is a qualitative study approach that studies an important individual, group, or, for example, to promote an interpretation of particular case or to provide useful generalization. Therefore, the case study approach allows the author to study specific student in and to deal with the SD situation in language learning. And then data and source of data. This data is student who experience a little anxiety and traumatic in class, taken from interview. And then the source of data is the student English education class 2020. Next is researchers method. In researchers method, divide to data collection technique and data analysis. In data collection technique, in this research use non-structured interview method, and then open observation method and documentary method. This is the way how to collection data. And then data analysis. In this research, use semantic analysis. What is the semantic analysis? According Brown and Craig in 2006. If oh sorry, according to Craig and Brown in 2013, the purpose of thematic analysis is to identify important or interesting themes, patterns in data, and use these themes to investigate or say something about the problem. So in the thematic analysis have several ways or several gates, which is a very useful framework for conducting thematic of analyzing. So the first step is familiarizing yourself with the data. So familiar with the entire data set, which entails repeated and active reading through of the data. Depending on the study, that the data set might include interview, focus group, recorded observation, field notes, journal entries, or other media such as photographs or video. Familiarizing oneself with the entirety of data set first will provide a valuable orientation to the raw data and is foundational for all subsequent steps. And then the second step is generating initial codes. This is can help to organize data at a Greenwald specific level. And then the third step is searching for themes. So this is can involve examination of the coded and collected data extract to look for potential themes of broader significance. When creating and organizing themes, thematic maps are useful for visual demonstrating cross connection between one concept and among main themes and sub-themes. And then the fourth step is reviewing themes. Themes can be added, combined, divide, or even discredit. So the first level of analysis is complete when the researcher is confident that the reviewed thematic map adequately covers all of the coded data to be included in the final analysis. And then the fifth step is defining and naming themes. In the fifth step is find the researchers creating a definition and narrative description of its theme, including why it's important to the broader study question. And then the last step is producing the report or manuscript. So this final step involves writing up the final analysis and description of finding. Elements of the writing process have already begun through the process of note taking, describing of themes, and selection of representative data extract in various steps. So that is step how to thematic analysis, how to use thematic analysis. Okay, in the next slide is data validity. To validate the data taken in this research, triangulation is used to make it all right. The triangulation has three theories used in this research. To make it simple, just look at my picture or my image in live screen. That is observation. After observation, you must do is interview, and then the last way is documentation. So this is how to data validity. And then the next slide is thank you. So that's all from me. If I make some mistake, I'm sorry. And bye bye. See you next meeting.